Welcome to the new year, and with the new year comes new messages, new themes, things that Spirit wants us to work on. With our spirit guides, we have guides that protect us, that guide us, and teach us. And part of the teaching can be learning lessons and expanding your energy as you are going through spiritual growth. So, today on this episode, I am giving some messages about 2024. So, stay tuned. Welcome to Spiritual and Ambitious. I'm your host, Whitney McNeill. I'm a certified medium and spiritual teacher, and I help spiritual and ambitious souls just like you live your life purpose through your career and attract abundance by connecting into your intuition and spirit guides. Let's get spiritual and ambitious. I want to give a shout out to our Great Britain listeners. I see you, and I really appreciate all of the listeners and all of the wonderful reviews. And I'd love for you to reach out to me over on Instagram and tell me what your New Year intentions are and just see how that goes. So last year, I set my intention, I had three. And one of my intentions was to travel to places I love and to people I love. And did I fulfill it? I certainly did. And that is still my intention for 2024. Now, I also had two other intentions that I actually fell short on. One was to learn a new language, and one was to learn how to play the steel drums. I haven't done that yet, but I can just carry that over. You can start a new cycle whenever you want to, right? So I am actually going to be doing a channeling event in 2024, and it's only going to be for people who join my Aligned Spiritual Mentorship as an annual member. If you are still interested in joining Aligned, you can submit your application at messengerofspirit.com/aligned. It is for spiritual and ambitious souls who are not at the very beginning of their spiritual journey, and they are wanting to continue to align and have a consistent way of doing so. So every month we have channeled messages, hot seat mentorship and coaching, and we have special events, meditations, and more. So check that out. You can also find the link to it in our show notes. So in July, I recorded an episode all about what to expect for the rest of 2023. So I think it's going to be really fun to do this in January. And I want to look at what Spirit has told us in the past 6 months. I want to look at what Spirit is telling us in our present time and what to expect for the collective consciousness in 2024. So let's go ahead and ask Spirit to share with us some messages about what to reflect on and what to kind of bookmark, like, oh, I've learned these lessons for the year of 2023. It's always good to release. So hopefully you've listened to my podcast episodes about releasing. We had one in December, but I feel like we need to learn lessons, because if we don't learn those lessons, guess what? We just get the same darn lesson repeated to us in a different package. Spirit presents us the same lesson in a different way. That's why I see people who struggle with finding a relationship match. They will go through like the same kind of person, even though each person looks different. So here's what Spirit says about 2023. So in 2023, we learned that it's important for us to have balance. It's important for us to take time out and have self-care, because if we don't take time out and have self-care, guess what? We get burned out. And the heart chakra is coming up. So the heart chakra is all about the bridge between the upper chakras, our spiritual self, our intuitive abilities, and our earth plane self, where we are dealing with bills, working a job, maintaining relationships, surviving, those kind of things. But we have to have balance because it's truly the portal of healing. And I truly believe that more and more people are starting to feel that call to really lead with their hearts. If you look at the entire world, you will see a different collective. There's a lot of chaos, but there are a lot of people saying, I am no longer tolerating this hatred. I am no longer tolerating these old beliefs, this old paradigm. I'm stepping forward and leading with my heart. I am leading with my intuition. I am leading with my soul. So, a lot of heart led, soul led entrepreneurs, a lot of people starting to really get in their truths. Now, of course, you can see a lot of chaos, like I said, but what is coming from this chaos, there's a lot of people that are saying, I'm no longer tolerating these things. With the chaos too, we're also learning that we are overstimulated. We are oversensitive sometimes to all the things going on. And so, therefore, we need self care. And that is why the self care is coming so, so strongly. So, that is one of the messages and one of the things that Spirit wants us to remember about 2023. Now, the next card is the channeler. And so, if you're familiar with me and you've learned with me inside of four intuitive languages, you know that I talk about the four different intuitive languages: the seer, people who see with clairvoyance; the owl, people who hear with clairaudience; the empath, people who feel with clairsentience; and the channeler, people who just know, like a thought pops into their head or their body tells them through claircognizance. So, what I have here is your body's intuitive, listen to it. Every single person in this world is intuitive. Some people have their sensitivity tuned up way strongly, and some people have it dialed down really low, but you can always change and shift your sensitivity to become more sensitive or less sensitive. What's happening, so many people are getting messages and not listening. And that's what we need to remember here in 2024. Our bodies are intuitive. If our bodies are tired, if our bodies are screaming at us to say, slow down, listen to it, that is an intuitive message. Channelers are similar to instincts. What are your instincts saying to you? So listen to your body and taking time for self care. You can see a theme here of slowing down. You can't do this anymore. It's like you can't be in the rat race all the time. You need a break. And then this last card here is the decision is yours. It's time to choose. Are you going to go forward in a new direction, or are you going to stay in the past? And what I love about this card, it goes with the self care and your body's intuitive. Listen to it. This is about you have free will. What are you going to choose? Are you going to listen to your intuition, or are you going to continue to go forward just thinking you have to? Sometimes we kind of subscribe to the I have tos and the I shoulds versus I feel or I desire, I know. So think about that. When I look at the cards, I'm seeing a lot of fives. Fives are about change. So really know that something has to change. And that's what 2023 really taught us. So now let's look at the present, just our present current moment of what Spirit wants to share with us. So let's go ahead, shuffle the cards. You're going to hear me shuffle from my Messenger of Spirit Oracle deck. I'll link to those in the show notes. If you don't have yours yet, you can get them, and we ship worldwide. Okay, so first card here of what Spirit wants us to know right now in January of 2024 is the card of the Phoenix. So inside of my Aligned Spiritual Mentorship, I just literally in December had the Phoenix theme, all about the ending of the Phoenix. There's 3 cycles of the Phoenix, right? So the cycle of the Phoenix is the birth, and then the fire, where we're just flying and feeling amazing, and then the death. In December, we had the death cycle of the Phoenix. And guess what? January, the theme that we have in Aligned is all about the birth cycle of the Phoenix. So how cool is that? So Phoenix is all about surrender to transformation and rebirth. You're being reborn. You might feel like you're in this metamorphosis. You might feel like you're excited, something's coming, but also things are still falling away. It's okay if you feel like January is still like your December. If you're like, I'm still letting things go. The Phoenix is all about the transformation that's happening, and something else is being birthed from all this fire that's being burned away. It's like just being burned down. So trust Spirit. It comes with a number 7. I think that's really, really important. The next card we have here is number 5 again. Like there's a lot of change happening right now, but it's the card of the angels. You're supported. Divine intervention is at play. So know that Spirit has your back. And even if you feel like you can't see what's next, you might be able to feel it. You know something's being birthed. Your guides, your angels, your divine support team, they are with you. They are helping you. So, we are talking about the present messages right here in January, and I will continue them after this quick break. As a professional psychic medium, I've done tens of thousands of readings, but I felt a call to move more fully into teaching intuition. But I still get so many requests about doing readings. So while I don't do readings anymore, I have brought in some very trusted colleagues who are now available for live 1 hour readings on Zoom. If you would like to book your psychic medium reading, go to messengerofspirit.com/appointments to see our available readers and schedule your Zoom reading today. Welcome back. We are talking about channeled messages for the new year. We've talked about what we need to remember from 2023, what we're kind of locking into our energy, and what Spirit wants us to know about the present moment. So we've got the Phoenix, which is all about surrender and transformation and new birth. We've got the angels, they are supporting you. And then this next card is all about stop thinking so much. Feel into it. This is remember to play. You are thinking way too much, and Spirit wants you to go back into that place of that childlike wonder of, ooh, I have no idea what's in store, but I'm so excited. This is what I think of when I am watching a movie and I'm, of course, holding my husband's hand. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's around the corner? What's gonna happen? But I'm excited and a little anxious at the same time. So that's an example of thinking about your life. What's around the corner? You're so excited. Like, what's gonna happen? And the card is the card of the fairies. So when you think of the fairies, fairies have a very light energy, very playful energy. Remember to laugh, remember to play. And what's on this card too is a crystal. So this can be a wonderful ally for you as you're going through transformation. One of the transformation crystals that can be really helpful is the crystal malachite, but really choose yours. And one of the crystals that's coming up for me just from spirit is selenite. So perhaps having selenite around your home, keeping it in your left pocket, something of that sort, which can be really, really good. And this card comes with a number 1. So when you think about that, you can see, okay, Phoenix is trust spirit. 7 is a spiritual number. Then divine intervention is here and at play. Even if you can't see how it's going to work out, your spirit guides are going to be intervening and helping you. And this is coming with a number 5 for change. The fairies card comes with a number 1 of starting a new cycle. And finally, the last card for what we need to know about the present moment is the root chakra. And guess what? It's another 1 card. So I can't make this stuff up, right? It's like new cycles. In order to start these new cycles, stop thinking about it so much. Play, have fun. What do you want to manifest? What do you want to create in your life? And the root chakra is all about grounding into the earth, be present in your body. Keep being present. We learned about that in 2023. Your body's intuitive. And so, what Spirit is talking about is don't disengage, don't disconnect, don't disassociate. Stay present, stay grounded, stay focused. In 2023, a lot of times there was so much going on that spiritual, sensitive people wanted to basically disconnect. So, what I see is it's almost like the spirit is kind of half in and half out of the body, where they don't have good roots because they don't want to. They want to play in spirit. Like, let's just have fun and talk about the spiritual side of the world. However, Spirit's saying in right now, in this current January of 2024, it's going to be really important for us to ground and maintain our roots and have a strong root system. And by the way, whenever you're listening to this, it's not just January of 2024. It's meant for you whenever you're listening. But pay attention to your root system. And so this means, how are you rooted into your body? How are you rooted in your relationships? How are you rooted in family? What needs to be kind of pruned and what needs to be nurtured? So now let's look at what Spirit is saying the themes of 2024 is going to be. Let's see what Spirit is sharing here. And so, by the way, if you're thinking, well, Whitney, you told me you were going to channel some messages for 2024 at your event. I am. And the difference is going to be in that event, I'm going to be giving everybody a card that is attending. And I'm going to go a little bit more deeply. So, we're going to look at different months and things like that. On this podcast, I'm doing an overview. But if you're interested in attending that event, and if you can't attend live, you get access to the recording when you join Align Spiritual Mentorship as an annual member. Okay, so this, oh my gosh, this card for 2024, the theme is carried over, everybody. It's carried over from 2023. Our theme for 2024 is, guess what? The heart chakra card. It's time for self-care. So again, we talked about it, but it's still here. And Spirit really wants you to stay present in your body, but also remember that self-care is important. And this is about shifting your priorities this year. Sometimes we put work first. Sometimes we put all of our family first. And while that is nice, and while that is a wonderful sentiment, we honestly need to put ourselves first to take care of ourselves before we can be a great vessel to help other people through our life purpose or to be a great vessel to help our family and friends. You have to take care of yourself. I have known people who passed over because they were running themselves ragged. They were just tired and they never ever slowed down. So it's really important. It's the same thing of saying putting the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help other people. You have to start saying no. You have to start putting yourself first. You have to stop. And it's hard sometimes. Sometimes your friends who are in need, the people who are really hurting around you, they might be in a struggle place and you feel that you are the solution for them. You feel that you have to help them. Especially when it comes to our family. However, this is a call to really look at your priorities in a sense of, you know what? If I continue to be the rescuer, if I continue to say yes, if I continue to overextend myself to all these people, and maybe what's going on around with these people are, it's not that serious. It's just they need your help. Maybe it's something at work. Who knows? If you continue to overextend yourself or you continue to rescue others, you are actually depriving these people of spiritual growth that they need to learn. There is a lesson they need to learn on their own. What happens oftentimes with repeat offenders, people who are asking for help over and over, in a sense where they could be empowered themselves. They are needing to get back into a cycle where they can rely on themselves first. They've forgotten that they have the power to do it. An example can be somebody who's asking their friends and family for money all the time when this is like a repeat cycle and it's happened for years and they need to get a bit uncomfortable to actually do something different to change their perspective, to change their situation. So there are times where there are people who are really struggling and there are times where there are people who are really struggling, but they could do something about it. But let's just say that there's people who are really struggling and you feel like they can't do anything about it. You have to really get clear and say, is this my job to figure this out for them? And probably the answer is no. Some situations it might be yes, especially if it's a young child, but that still doesn't mean that you can't take time for self-care. You might have to get a little bit uncomfortable and ask for help yourself to have somebody else watch this person. I'm just giving you these examples. And even if you don't have this exact same situation, I feel like there's a message within there for you. Okay, so self care. Next card is the butterfly. It's time to break through your limits and expand. So, the first step to expansion is self care. Get clear with yourself. Let yourself take time off. Trust the universe. Trust that the universe is going to provide when you're listening. Because if you're not listening and you're just saying, hey, I don't want to do it, it's probably not going to work out well. When you get the message, it's time to just like say no, to just be by yourself. Maybe it's in business that you need to stop doing what you're doing and listen to it. And it's time to break through your limits. So it goes inward first before you break through. Sometimes people are like, yes, I'm going to take action. look at me. I'm going to do all these things and break through my limits and get uncomfortable. And while breaking through your limits does take some action, it starts with going inward and it's going to feel like you're not doing anything. So go inward first and break through your limits, expand, let those wings fly. It reminds me of when you go inward, you're in the cocoon, and then literally on the card, the butterfly, it's a butterfly flying. So that's how you break through your limits. All right. So the next card, how funny, we were just talking about action, is the inspired action. Like I said, when you break through your limits, it does require action, but first you have to go within, like in the cocoon. And the action has to be inspired. So I want to talk about numbers. So with the heart chakra card, the self-care, it's a 4, all about balance and starting to have a firm foundation again. This breaking through your limits card is a 3, and this feels all about expansion, right? This inspired action card is a 7. And this is about aligning your action with spirit, aligning your action with intuition. Before I got on the same page with doing action with intuition, I actually would get irritated with my husband for not taking action. And I kind of would say, you're being lazy. Like, you need to just do something. He would always say, I don't feel it in my gut. And it took me a while to wrestle with that. And you might find that argument within yourself sometimes. And now I get it. I'm like, my logical mind says to do this, but I don't feel it. You've got to have an intuitive inspiration to take action, or you're just wasting your energy. And then you'll be going back to the beginning of the cycle where you need more self care because you've wasted all your energy everywhere else. This last card, and so these are the themes for 2024. The last card is allow it to flow. Let that shit go. Let it go. Don't stay in it too long. Allow yourself to cleanse. This is a water card. So allowing yourself to use water feels like that's important. The water is also a feminine energy too, about receiving, being a bit more gentle, but it's like, let it flow in and out. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to take any shit. This is more, I'm not going to hold on to something that does not serve me, because all it's doing is kind of messing up my vibe and murking up my water. So making sure that you are just letting it go, let it flow. This is all about being in the flow this year, taking inspired action, and breaking through your limits is like, you know what? If I'm holding on to stuff that's telling me I can't, I shouldn't, then I'm not going to be able to break through my limit. So I need to let it flow, let that shit go so that I can break through and be the expanded version of myself this year. So that's exciting. I think that's really great. And I want to leave you with some actionable steps to take right now. So you might hear my cards shuffling in the background. I'm just going to ask Spirit to give us some messages about what steps can people take right now to start moving through our theme. So the first card, I'm not surprised. It's like, Whitney, you already channeled the message for the present. So here it is again in your face. It's the Phoenix, surrender to transformation. So right now, if there's something in your body where you're just saying, I don't know how to make this happen, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It feels scary. It feels uncomfortable. I don't like change. Spirit is asking you to put your hands up and let them take care of it and surrender. Just let it go. Stop holding on to the reins so tightly. And then this next card, the last card, is say yes to new opportunities. So say yes because the doors are opening when you surrender. Just do it. Just say yes. It's right there. That's just our ego sometimes prevents us from letting go or prevents us from moving forward. And we have to let go in order to move forward, because if we are holding on to the reins, we can't move to the next phase. I love the numbers because the Phoenix is the 7, all about spirit. And then the next step, because literally I asked about steps, is an 8. An 8 is this beautiful infinity. It's this beautiful number of harvest and abundance. And it's, hey, just let go, surrender to the transformation. We're working something out for you, but we need you to let go and stop trying to control everything and just say yes. yes to those opportunities coming through. All right. I will be back next week with a brand new episode. But until then, here's to staying spiritual and ambitious. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And if you loved it, would you please share it with a friend? I would also love your review and a reminder to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find me at messengerofspirit.com, and you can take the 4 Intuitive Languages quiz and find show notes there too. If you want to connect on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you can find me at Messenger of Spirit. I'll meet you right here next week. Here's to staying spiritual and ambitious.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM. Women's voices amplified.